Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rody and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day guys and welcome to episode 106 of All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian Fishing Podcast. Rody, good to be here, mate.
Dizzy, always good to be here podcasting, talking fishing, and we're joined tonight later on by a big guest.
Yes, massive name in the rec fishing community, and of course that is Al McGlashan.
Yeah, Diz, I started writing something up about this episode just before and I didn't really know what to call him. He's a fisherman, he's a
underwater cameraman,
TV personality, film. He's done a fair bit of journalism and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah.
He's a man of many talents and he's now getting into the sustainability and research side of things a bit as well, Diz.
Yes, we can't wait to talk about his new TV series which has just launched. Rody, Fish Forever?
Yes, Diz, I've actually been watching them. They're good on the 9 Now website, so I can watch them in my own time.
Beautiful. We love that. All right, Rody, let's that's really whet the appetite for later today's episode. We can't wait to have a chat with Al. But before we do that, mate, let's get into oranges and lemons, our usual segment. I'll let you kick us off with an orange.
All right, Diz, I'm going to crack my frothy, and that'll be a bit of a short-term orange, but a longer-term orange, Diz, is a 4-day long weekend.
Yes, we love them.
4-day weekends are few and far between, and yes, we do love them, Diz. So I don't think anyone's complaining about having 4 days off.
I think it might really be the only 4-day long weekend. Is it?
You probably get one over Christmas, Boxing Day, depending when that falls.
Depending when it falls, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. But it's amazing because sometimes Easter rolls into Anzac Day.
5-day weekend, living the dream.
Wow, you put a couple of days of leave in there, you could really be living the dream. Anyway, not to be this year, but 4 days off. None of us will be complaining, of course, if you are off work. Get out there, enjoy it. That's going to lead me nicely into my orange, mate, which is, of course, that 4-day weekend is a great opportunity to get out fishing, and I'm going to take advantage of just that. We're going to head away over to York's, going to do a couple of days worth of fishing. The weather looks great, so I'm hoping
are the winds good? I haven't been covering.
Yeah,
keeping
winds
an eye on
good.
it as much. Yeah.
Winds are good. Sun's out.
Yeah,
be good for the beach, I reckon.
Yeah.
So it should be a nice weekend. No doubt, plenty of fish being caught or plenty of waiting at boat ramps and chasing other boats around.
Well, we're heading down the road, but I'm leaving the boat with you, so I'm gonna go land based, Diz, and leave the boat traffic to everyone else.
Fair enough. Righto, Rody, what's your lemon, mate?
Diz, it has been a bit of a sad day for fishing, or a sad couple of days, with the tragedy that occurred off Spilsby Island sort of over the last, 24 to 48 hours?
Yeah, well, I think it might have even happened on Monday afternoon into the early hours of Tuesday. So we're getting into that sort of 48, 72 even.
So Dizzy, Spilsby Island and Buffalo Reef was the area. We were fishing there probably 3 weeks ago in the Port Lincoln comp. So we do know the area, and a boat has flipped, 5 people on board, 2 were rescued, a father and son. And unfortunately, 3 bodies were pulled out, Diz. So sounds like they've copped a bit of a freak wave or some big swell, gone over, and it hasn't ended well. It is a reminder of how dangerous the ocean can be, Diz, and a reminder to make sure that you have all the right safety gear if you are going away over Easter. And not only that, all the safety gear is easily accessible. And you know where it all is, you know it works. We have touched on this before, but maintaining and all that with your safety gear is crucial.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, Rody. Just a real tragedy that. Never like hearing stories of people getting into trouble out on the ocean. It is a stark reminder that it's very dangerous recreation that we partake in, realistically. Being out there in the wide open ocean, it's very unpredictable, and you're right, you need to take every precaution. Unfortunately, this does appear to just be a genuine tragedy, and our thoughts are with the family and loved ones of all of those people, Rhodey.
All right, Diz, let's hear your lemon. Hopefully it is a bit less of a sour lemon than that one.
Yes, it certainly is, Rhodey. This is nothing in comparison to that, but I was just getting myself organised for everything this weekend. We trip away, make sure the car's ready to rock and roll, and what did I cop? A punctured tyre.
You hate that, don't you?
Oh.
Was it a slow leak or?
Yes, it was.
Yep.
I sort of looked at it. I was driving to a meeting. I looked and I was like, oh. So Will was running a bit late, so I just jumped in the car, got got home later that afternoon, looked out the window at my car. She was flat.
You didn't get when you get a nail or a screw and you hear that like tick, 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 tick.
No, it was a screw,
Was
but
it?
I couldn't
Yeah.
hear it. It was just must have been so flush.
Yeah.
That I just couldn't hear it. Or I just had the tunes, or maybe the All the Gear podcast episode 105 just cranked too hard.
Oh, geez, that's all you ever do. Every time I get in your car, it's like,
Couldn't hear
"Diz,
it."
Stop listening to your own voice, mate. There's something wrong with you. You've listened to this episode 13 times.
But fortunately, it was just a puncture wasn't on the sort of wall of the tyre, so easily repaired, ready to go. No problems. Ready?
Beautiful, Diz. That is our oranges and lemons for this week. What about the merch, Diz?
Yeah, look, T-shirts, got some, caps, got some, beanies, got some. We've had a couple of cooler mornings this week, Rhodey.
It's edging closer to beanie weather, Diz.
It is dark in the
I
morning
reckon robe this weekend could almost be a beanie job.
Yeah, no, it will be. Backpack it in for sure. It'll be cold over there. It always is. Beanies, yeah, get around them basically. So hit us up for any of your merch needs. We've still got some knocking around and we love seeing everybody out there in a bit of all the gear merch. It's fantastic. Rhodey, let's get into the news, mate.
Rhodey and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and we'll give you the rundown on what you need to know.
All right, Diz, we've got plenty to talk about tonight, so let's get into it, Diz. And we're heading over to Kangaroo Island and Destrees Bay for this first one.
Yes, so this is an interesting story that Wreckfish has been talking about on their social media platforms and making sure that everybody out there in the Wreckfish community is aware of what was, I guess it was being proposed. Is that right?
Yeah, so there's been, they're talking about future marine parks, and this is to do with the finalisation of a historical Gulf net buyout package, resulting in decreased pressure for yellowfin, whiting, flathead, mullet, salmon and more. And the package would mean no active net licences remained in Kangaroo Island. So a part of all this, Diz, is there was a proposal to make Destrees Bay a no-take sanctuary zone marine park, which would be a tragic loss for the KI fishing community and also for the tourism side of things.
Definitely. I mean, we were over there most recently, Rhodey, and we know what that bay has to offer both from a boating perspective and a land-based perspective. That would be a huge disappointment to see that. It's a wonderful part of the south coast of KI, very much used by a lot of the locals and people travelling to the island from further afield, and that would be a crying shame.
And Diz, there's only 2 beach launch locations on the entire southern coast of KI. So if you don't maintain that as a launching option, and I do understand they would still probably be able to launch there if they had to, but for emergency services and things like that. So it is important that it's maintained and used for that. The other thing with it, the weather there is not great at Destrees Bay, so it's hardly ever going to be a spot that is fished a lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot of days you can't go out there.
Yeah, they wouldn't get an enormous amount of pressure. I mean, it's not a really remote part of Kangaroo Island, but
There's a few dirt tracks to get there, and you need a decent boat to go out there.
Easily accessible. So I think this concept is just wild for mine and really, really against it.
So Wreckfish have officially rejected this proposal, and they're gonna fight it, Diz, which is good.
Good. All right, that'll be one for us to follow, I reckon. What else have we got in the news segment this week, Rhodey?
Diz, we're going to stay on Wreckfish fighting the government at the moment, and this one is about the kingfish.
Yes, so we have talked about this on and off. It seems to be another one that Recfish are prosecuting on behalf of all us recos out there in the community, which is great to see. It does sort of stem back to what that horrific footage was of pros netting massive amounts of kingfish, some of the bigger models, particularly the breeders. And there's a proposal, I think, to impose a limit of 2, Rhodey? Talk to me.
To what?
What's the proposal for the pros?
So what Recfish have said, there's been Recfish and community pressure to place kingfish on the Stage 1 Access and Allocation Committee agenda. So PIRSA has requested that SARDI give some information about that to be discussed at that meeting. The committee will meet May-June this year with Recfish SA experts and board members to represent the community. And it's the first stage of legislatively, if I can say that word correctly, protecting the species from excessive netting pressure. And it says here up to 5,000% of what has been allocated in the rec fishing management plan as a recreational, important and vital species for regional tourism and fishing opportunities across the state.
Yes.
You don't hear 5,000% thrown around that often.
No.
It's a big number.
Yeah, it is. It is, mate. That is a huge number. And I think I did read in one of Recfish's proposals that basically the solution from their perspective is really simple, that you would apply a standard bag limit of 2 kingfish per person to commercial fishers, as well as other Seriola species in South Australia.
Oh, so they're saying a limit of 2, including commercial fishers. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So that's all based on...
That's a proposal. That's obviously something that they're advocating for.
Yeah, so it's basically saying that the kingfish netting that's been going on is far in excess of the allocation of 0.12%, which is supposed to be allocated for the commercial industry DIS. Yeah. So it's supposed to be largely a rec fishing sector. And I suppose that's why the aquaculture industry and the bred kingfish that are in the nets in the Gulf out there, that's what they're supposed to be there for.
Yeah, well, we've seen that, mate. I mean, we've seen the photos across the socials of the amount of boats at the ramps and in the water at the hot spots where kings, when they do that migratory pattern. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it must have been close.
So we know how much money that large amount of boats and people trying to catch these fish of a lifetime in some cases. They're spending a lot of money in regional towns. They're spending a lot of time travelling across our state, whether that's at pubs, petrol stations, local community events, so on and so forth. It's an enormous part of the economy, and it's about time that they start respecting that and understanding what value we bring to the table. So it's fantastic to see Recfish's work here. We just really hope they're successful, Rhodey.
We do, Diz. All right, let's keep moving and let's head down to Cape Jarvis, Diz.
Oh, yes. What's happening at the Cape?
So there has been 2 proposed. So there's a Cape Jarvis Harbour Precinct Master Plan, which is up for discussion, Diz, and there's been option 1 and option 2 presented in this. We'd encourage you to jump onto I think it's the Department of Infrastructure and Transport website that presents those 2 plans. It presents a lot of the background information. This is obviously tied in with the what we know is happening with a loss of fishing space, which is all to do with the New Sea Link ferries, Diz, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. But it's also, there's proposals in there to manage car parking a bit better. I mean, we've been down there recently when the car park has been quite full, and the car park is a disgrace, I think is fair to say. There's really poor car parking there for recreational users of the Cape Jarvis area. There's limited parking for people who might be catching the ferry across to Kangaroo Island. The area is getting busier. The local tourism industry, we certainly hope, continues to thrive in the many years to come. So it is an important part of development in that area. And I think you're right. It definitely has got – it must be tying in with the new C-Link precinct, I suppose, and what they're planning on doing there. But it is important that other users of that area also benefit from – whether it be specific boat and trailer parking in the area as opposed to just
I think that's part of it as well, that they're going to put that make that asphalt, formalise it a bit better with lines and all that sort of stuff. It also talks about better linkage of the sort of boat ramp, C-Link precinct and Cape Jarvis itself. It also talks about redoing the boat ramp, upgrading the ramp. And also, Dizzy, it talks about the southern breakwater being worked on or improved, and that being the alternative recreational fishing infrastructure, which I suppose it's better than nothing, Diz, but some of those old blokes that trundle down the jetty and catch a squid aren't going to have that much fun fishing off a breakwater.
No, they're not.
So it's better than nothing, but it's probably not as good as what we have had up until now.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, jump on and have a look at those two, those couple of ideas, proposals they've got, and there is ways that you can submit some feedback up until the 21st of April.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff, Roddy. Love that, mate. Get involved, all of the listeners out there. It's an important part, and give us your feedback, particularly those who spend a bit of time down there. Roddy, let's move on now. We did touch on this in our lemon. It's an absolute tragedy, this story. Unfortunately, 3 passed away in a freak accident off Port Lincoln's the Eyre Peninsula coastline. And 2 have, I guess, miraculously survived, really, when you think about the amount of time that they needed to tread water, the treacherous area in which they were. And as we said earlier, realistically, I think at this stage our thoughts are just with the family and loved ones of those people that have passed away, mate, because we know that particularly those areas offshore can be unpredictable at times, but there is always an element of wrong place at the wrong time, and maybe that was the case in this. I think what was really great to see was clearly there was a lot of other fishing boats in the area that started to basically just dropped everything, got involved in the search and rescue.
A cruise ship
effort.
as well?
Cruise ship. That's exactly right. And fortunately, 2 of those lives were saved in the accident. And, I think it's just a timely reminder for everybody out there who is spending time in the water to take every precaution, really.
And our condolences to the families, the Eckert and Bottrell families who have lost a loved one, and they were doing what they love, but it doesn't make it any easier to take, I suppose, Diz.
No, I think the Port Lincoln community will be feeling it now, Rhodey. It's safe to say, after having been there recently, they're a very welcoming community, a lovely town, and I'm sure this one will be hitting very hard. Like you say, our thoughts are with everybody involved, really.
All right, Diz, last one in our news segment. We're staying over on the Eyre Peninsula, and this is another jetty that has closed down. Is closing a word?
No, it's not.
Anyway, it's closed due to the lack of maintenance. Louth Bay Jetty has been closed today, 3 days before the Easter break.
Disgraceful.
So it's certainly not the only jetty that is lacking maintenance and work done, and it's not the first one to be closed, and I would hope it'll be the last, but I don't necessarily believe that either.
No. Dare I say it?
Sounds like there was no warning given either. It just all of a sudden a fence went up and that was bad luck.
Yeah. No, we don't like that. We don't like seeing that, mate. It's really bad. Clearly there's been something that's gone on there that they've made the decision that they need to close it, whether that be safety reasons or whatever. Nonetheless, extremely disappointing. Who knows how long that'll be closed for. Probably a long time, knowing how poor this government is at maintaining jetties. Rhodey, fair call?
Fair call, Diz.
Good stuff. Righto, mate. That was jam-packed.
Oh, take a breath, mate.
Good news segment. Liked it a lot. Let's move on now to the tackle item of the week.
Now it's time for Rhodey and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
So, Rhodey, we do talk about this on our podcast that we don't always have to have these amazing tackle items of the week where we talk about Shimano's lovely Speedmasters, or it might be talking about their beautiful workhorse of a reel, the Saragossa. This week we're talking about the humble swivel.
Dizzy, it isn't just a swivel though, is it, mate?
No, it is a mighty, mighty swivel.
It is the AFW Mighty Mini Snap Swivel, Diz.
Great swivels.
They're 100% stainless steel and are 3 times stronger than the conventional snap swivels of the same size. So that means you can use a smaller swivel with the same strength or more strength, which therefore affects how your lures swim less. So it makes your lures swim better. It's less obvious to fish. Theoretically, you catch more fish.
Yes.
And we use these, I think we used a size 5, Diz. In the tuna comp.
Sounds about right.
Had no issues.
No issues at all.
And they're small. They're a lot smaller than what you expect to use on a tuna outfit.
We're even using some Mighty Minis on some jigs.
We were, Diz, and you all know that we smashed the Samson fish on the jigs, don't you?
Yeah, boy, we did. And that was great. It was just, we just found that it was easier to manage. You know, sometimes you might be out trolling lures around and then you might see something on the sounder, you want to stop, drop some jigs over. We just found it was a little bit easier than managing split ring pliers and split rings and that sort of thing. So it was great, particularly when you can rely on the strength and the durability of those Mighty Minis.
And yeah, Diz, they certainly stood the test of the 34 tuna we pulled in over the Port Lincoln fishing comp.
Yeah, they did. It was really only your knots that let us down.
Oh, I do not know about that, mate. You were hogging the little bimini tying station anyway.
Oh, everyone heard the defensiveness in your voice then, mate. That's a great little tackle item, Rhodey. Now it's time to get our guest on the line.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
Righto, Rhodey. We are very lucky to be joined by some very famous guests. We've got McGlashan and Audi here with us, the team behind some stunning stuff in the wreck fishing community. Al is journalist, cameraman, photographer, angler, and most recently, the team behind Fish Forever, which can be streamed now on the Channel 9 page, and it is absolutely epic. We're very lucky to be joined by you both. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Wait a minute. I thought you said you had like celebrities and stuff. You couldn't get them, so you got us instead.
We're scraping the bottom of the barrel this week, guys.
It's right down the bottom now.
No, we are very, very happy to be chatting with you guys. We love all your work, and we've loved getting into the first couple of episodes of your most recent show, and we are going to touch a lot on that. But before we do, we're going to ask you our 5 questions we ask all our guests, starting with tell us about your best fish.
Oh, hang on. How long have we got for that one? Always won't even get a look in for that. There's been, do you know what? Every year it's a new one, but over the years, I'd probably have to say one of the biggest and the best ones was actually down on the Victorian South Australian border, so right down your way, was when we drove down overnight because we'd heard about these huge bluefin that were all 140 kilos, and we thought the guys were smoking a bit of wacky tobacco. And back in those days, it was when we were doing strike zones, so it's like, well over a decade ago now. And we risked it for the biscuit, drove all the way down overnight, and went out and ended up catching one that went 154.8. And it took me on 24, and it took me friggin' 7 hours, and I never fished 24 ever again.
Did you take it all the way back home as well?
I ate the whole thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's the first time we put it on the news. Like in those days, that was probably the first time we learnt the power of Facebook, because the fight was going on. You had service down there, so they're texting constantly during the fight, and everyone, they caught a couple of fish into the 140s, and I called it 140. And as the fight went on, kept going and going, and everyone's going, oh my God. So when we turned, I think it was in Port Fairy, when we pulled up in there with this fish at, 6 o'clock at night, There's 1,000 people at the round. It was insane.
wow.
Like, you've never seen like it. And no one knew we were even there originally. So, yeah, that definitely showed us the power of it. And then we cut it all up and ate the whole lot. I'd have eaten the skin if I could have got away with it.
Oh, that's epic. Far out. What a story. That's amazing. Well done. Righto, guys, tell us your favourite thing about fishing.
Or it's go first. Hit them up.
Oh, that's a bit of a tough one. I've always loved it as quality time, and the fishing's an absolute bonus. So being out on the water has been the best part. But I would say we get a chance to do it all together, which, it's out there as a family and 2 dogs now, because we've also got a dachshund with us. And, we just love being out there and
I'd go crap on the first part. I go to catch fish. I don't go out there to have I don't want to get a boat ride. I want to catch a fish. That's what I'm going fishing for.
true. But I've been on the camera for a while, so I'm just excited to be on the water.
Well, there's nothing to film then if we don't catch it.
No,
So,
that's a very common answer. All that stuff, the family and friends, you make, the time on the water, all that stuff. So that is a common answer. So we do like that one. Next
What
one.
about, hang on, I'll change it. I'll change it too. I like being on the water, catching a big fish with my family and friends.
You've summed it up right there.
But we do probably have to add into that the competitiveness amongst the family when a fish comes up as well. First to the rod.
First the rod, a lot of fighting and ribbing about it the whole way through.
I've been watching your shows and I've seen Al and Cooper getting a bit of a rivalry going on the Kingfish on Sydney Harbour.
Yeah, that's just a start. Well, Ords, if you're watching the first one, Ords picks up on the sword bite, and then somehow Cooper's winding it up. And she goes, I've got to get the camera, and Keith goes, okay, I'll wind it up.
All right, our next one is tell us your first fishing memory or what got you into it.
Oh,
go Ords.
Oh, I would have to say I used to go herring fishing. And the first time my dad took me out, it was in a little bay that was actually named after my grandparents.
Explain your West Australian. No one else fishes in this country.
So I'm West Australian. But, Dad used to take me out herring and gardy fishing. And we used to go out in a little bay that was named after my grandparents. And, catching that one, first one was an absolute thrill. But we also finished it off by taking just one little fillet around to each of the older members of the community. So it was it was a good time for me and something that kept me fishing, that's for sure. Ours will be completely different to that.
Mine's simple as a flathead on a hand line, like on one of those old wooden hand lines.
Yep.
Sadly.
Mine
that
was
old.
plastic hand line,
Well, mine was wooden. I didn't have plastic back in those days. And in Port Phillip Bay, just catching a stock standard sand flathead with about 10 scallop dredges driving around us back in those days. So a fair while ago now, but still have vivid memories of holding the line, and it just came alive and I went, holy moly, this is awesome.
Yeah,
the simple stuff.
It's amazing, like you say, the simple stuff. How many of our guests who have gone on to achieve amazing things in fishing do start with those bread and butter species, so that's good to hear.
Fun.
All right, what about your favourite sort of fishing and why?
Oh,
I'd go sword fishing.
I would have to say the same.
Yeah. And do you know what I love about it? Is because we have you'll hear all the theories and everyone's got all these crazy ideas. We have no idea what we're doing. We're so, we only know 2% of it, like with, catching snapper in the Gulf or King George whiting or marlin fishing. We know it pretty well now. You got charts, you got everything to make it easy to find the fish. But with swords, you've got no idea. You're fishing 600 metres away. The bites are, Ords hooked one the other day that she and I both called for a friggin' blue eye until 200-odd kilos of swordfish stuck its head up beside the boat. And everyone went, well, I won't say the exact words because they're not appropriate for radio, but there were quite a few words. So you've got no idea how big they are, and so I love the learning.
Yeah, I think so. And also, we're putting 2 lines down that are effectively less than 2 metres apart, all that way down. We don't know what the current's doing down the bottom. All we've got a picture of is what our drift is on the surface. We don't know what the terrain's really looking like down there. So it's what would you say, a much bigger challenge.
Pioneering.
Yeah, definitely. It still has that feel to it because
it's challenging when we come up with those 2 lines wrapped together in a massive knot.
How we don't end up with a knot every single time, I'd still beyond my, especially when the boys decide to also put down an electric reel. So, we always like to notch it up a little bit more.
Risking it for the biscuit. Let's chuck another one down and see what happens.
And we have to be honest, if Coops is on board when we're doing it and we sense that it might be a little bit too big, then we don't hesitate. We call him straight up and get him straight onto that rod.
Yeah.
We back away.
Yeah, wind it up. It's big. It's your turn.
Yeah. I've still got something else to do.
How good is that? Geez, that makes me jealous, Rhodey.
Yeah, sword fishing is something we've never done, and we would love to get over there and have a go.
Yeah, righto, guys. Tell us a funny fishing story or one that got away.
Oh, go on.
Oh, gosh.
Come on. What are you going
to be too many, I would say. The ones that got away would probably be too many.
Well, I reckon here's a good one. So back in the old days, and this is showing my age, back in the old days when we used to used to shoot slide film, I had Doug Olander, who was the editor of Sport Fishing Magazine in the US, sent me an email and goes, I want a photo, Al, of a guy getting speared by a marlin. I went, no one's got that, mate. No one's. What are you thinking? He goes, well, what have you got? He goes, we're doing dangerous fish. We want to open with a big spread. And I went, okay. The next day we went fishing off Sydney and there were marlin everywhere. And one of the guys, we're on a boat that this girl wanted to drive the owner's daughter, and every time we got the fish up close to the boat, she'd pull the boat out of gear. So fish had jumped. I thought, oh, this could go a bit pear-shaped. So they've got the fish up beside the boat on a lure too, so they're always going to be a bit more aggro on a lure. And it's come up and she's pulled the boat out of gear and the fish has gone to jump and the bloke is pulling on the leader and the guy goes, I'll get it, steps over half onto the marlin board and half in the boat to tag it, and the marlin just comes charging straight up and hits him square in the arse.
Oh. Did you get the photo?
Yep, but the best part is it's not digital, so you can't see. So I'm sitting there going, I think I just shot. And because in those days we had to pre-guess all the settings and everything and do it all right. I'm going, I reckon I've got this shot. So I had to go and get it processed, and I've got it, and used to go to the process and I just get a strip, so I wouldn't even get them cut up. I'd get the strip, and I'm going through it, and here's the shot with the guy leaning over the side and the marlin with its bill bang, hit him square in the butt cheek, and it's actually got, you can see like the indent where it's hit, but you can see its bottom jaw hit the back of the boat at the same time, so it didn't penetrate and didn't go straight through. But the funny thing is, and we used to always make a joke, it must be a female because it had mouth open, was yabbering, so not appropriate in this day and age, but it was funny back then. But the funny thing, but it gets better because then I rang up Doug, and the Yanks don't have a sense of humour, so I sent him an email, and said, Doug, got the shot you need? I've got a shot of the guy getting speared square up the clacker. And he goes, step back, I have no idea what you're talking about. I said, you want a marlin spearing a bloke? I've got it. And he's got him square on the clacker. And he goes, what's a clacker? I went, in the bum. And he goes, are you serious? I went, yeah, I've got the shot. Anyway, it ended up being a double-page spread and one of the most famous shots for them and for Marlin Mag back in the early days. And, yeah, it was funny that you never, ever in your whole life get asked for a shot and get like such a monumental shot the next day.
Oh, wow. That's quite a story, Al. You've just about trumped most of our guests.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we haven't even got onto the Mako one yet either, so that's even another one.
All right, Al. Now, Al and Audi, we're going to keep moving. Thanks for doing those 5 questions. The first thing, before we get on to Fish Forever, I want to hear how you both came to be where you are today. Were you photographers, filmers that then got into fishing? Were you fishos first? Tell us about your story to where you are now.
So you want to go first? You want me to go first, don't you, Aud? All right.
Oh, yours is epic. Mine's simple. I was only a child that fished with a dad, and then took up game fishing when I was about 40.
And started working on charters.
And was helping friends on their charter boats, had a really good crew to work with, and fished tournaments up and down.
She seems to miss a few spots here, guys. When she says she's working with mates on a charter, one of her good mates runs Blue Lightning, which is in the Montebellos. So it's got the highest number of sailfish in the country and insane fishing. So she's doing liveaboard charters in one of the most amazing spots. But
went straight to the top.
Yeah, straight to the top. Meanwhile, at my end, as a kid, I always fished. Like I fished and hunted all my life, and I always wanted to catch big fish. And as a kid, I always wanted to go Bermagui back in those days because I used to live in Melbourne as a kid, and we saved up everything and just always went fishing every weekend. We're driving to Bermagui for weekends. And anyway, and I always wanted, all I ever was going to do was go fishing as a job. Like I remember the careers advisor goes, now listen, Al, what are you going to do when you leave school? I said, go and fishing. He goes, okay, this is a private school. We don't do that. You go to school, then you get good marks. I went, yeah. And he goes, then you go to university. I'm like, eh. And he goes, and you get good marks. You work really hard. Then you get a job. You work every day, and on your spare day, you may get to go fishing. And I went, yeah, I don't like that. That sounds shit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go fishing, and I'm going to build my career around it. So he goes, no chance. Because in those days, you're set to do a job. You didn't go and, build a career around something you enjoyed. And I went, that's it. So I started out, I worked at I tried guiding for a while, and I didn't enjoy taking people that didn't appreciate what they saw. So, I met a guy, we took him to Cairns, got an 800-pound black straight up, and he goes, oh, that's easy. And I'm like, mate, you've just seen a fish that 0.01% of the population will ever see in their lives. And so I just didn't, if they're all great blokes, it's awesome. Then I went into retail, and I worked for the Complete Angler and for Ray's Outdoors, which is BCF these days, and they didn't like it when I rang up and said I'm going fishing. I really struggled with the retail, and I don't think I was ever their favourite person. So we were fishing, and I was still working a bit, and I started taking photos because we're at Bermagui and we'd caught 2 marlin. We'd saved up as the year before and gone to Hawaii and learned to troll for marlin because no one fished for them back in those days in the 80s and 90s the way we do now. Anyway, of course, we came back and started catching striped marlin, and they're bloody crap on lures. They all fall off all the time. So we managed to get 2 out of about 10 for the day, and we let them go. In those days, everyone was killing everything, and I thought, they're just too beautiful to kill. These fish are too precious. So we're back at the boat ramp. This bloke comes down here, a little ramp rat, and goes, how'd you go? And I went, got 2 marlin. And in those days, it was only tuna they were catching. They went, really? Yep. I went, yeah. And he goes, where are they? I went, I let them go. He goes, you didn't catch them. Walked off. I went, right. So I got a camera to take photos, and it was kind of cool because I started in those days of slide film. I took photos, and Bill Klassen was running his sport fishing mag. It only just started, and he said, show me these photos that you're doing, Al. We met at something, and I showed him. He goes, you string a few words together and I'll publish it. And that's where it all started. And then it just exploded. So, we did all the magazines. Then I went worldwide doing them. Then I started doing books, and then started to focus on TV. And everyone that says TV, overnight, it took me, I reckon, 10 years to do it on my own terms.
Yeah, wow.
So,
that's amazing.
So, yeah, and that we started with Strike Zone, which we started with as DVDs, building Strike Cam and filming underwater, and always wanted to have the Blue Planet style of showing everything in the water in its natural habitat. And to this day, it's never changed. Always the same that same approach to showing what we see at sea.
That's amazing. That is an epic story for you both, actually, and how you've done so much in your careers. It's excellent. And I think it's really cool to hear that backstory, which leads us to what we've now seen of a couple of episodes of your new series, Fish Forever. So let's talk a bit about that. I love the sustainability element of it. There's obviously a huge amount of research that needs to be done, but also learning, as we heard from you recently, about these swords, where it's like we don't know anything. We need to try and understand these fish and so on and so forth. So tell us about Fish Forever. It's obviously been a bit of a journey for you both, and I bet it's really rewarding for you both to see it come to life on the screen now for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah, and do you know what? So I'd done TV now for, I think, 15 years, and not against fishing shows. I just didn't want the heavy brand funding, the hoo-has. I wanted to always push more and more on the science and the I suppose you say Blue Planet style. And we were doing fishing with mates, which was doing well. We got on Netflix around the world, except for Australia, because we had to hold back on Australia. And we'd done really well with that. But the company we were working with went belly up, which we'd luckily bailed on them, because I said, I don't want to do it this way. I want to make it better. Like, I want to keep improving on what we're doing. And business went a bit sort of pear-shaped with them. So I was a little bit despondent. So Ords and I were sitting there, and she goes, why don't we just do it? Why do we need a production company to work with? Let's just do it ourselves. Let's make it. So we went, so she talked me into it. So it's Ords' fault. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And we started building on it. And it's funny, I'd done TV for, so long, but I thought I knew all the elements, for producing, but the back end to do it right is where it all, like filming it. So we go out for a day, shoot it. That's the easy part. It's collating that data, getting all that footage in the right spot, and then making a story out of what you shoot has been the steepest learning curve. Like, it's taken us 2.5 years, almost 3 years to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
But the key was we didn't want it brand funded, so we didn't want to be forced by brands to say, say a name 3 times or anything like that. We wanted to do it on our terms, but the key was to promote fishing, and particularly for us is that fishermen aren't bad.
It's too easy, isn't it? For you're often seen as, you can't be a conservationist and a fisherman at the same time. But we see anglers and our experiences with, anglers down on the boat ramp and out on the water and everything else, is they're the ones that really want to look after the fisheries. They want to make sure that they're doing the right thing, and we see there's not enough good positive publicity around what anglers actually do towards looking after our fisheries.
Yeah, and we find that really hard, because you sit there going, mate, we want lots of fish. We want, theoretically, fish forever. That's what we want. So, and I've always, working in Canberra and all those sort of things, always trying to do something to put back into fishing. I got frustrated with this constant, there's fishermen are yobos, they don't care. And you go, no, we're the ones that are front line. We're the important ones. And that was a large part of the motivation to do this series and to show, the impact that we're having. And we're all having an impact now because the population's going up so quickly, pollution's becoming bigger things. Like, we see so much more rubbish at sea now than we did. We'd pick up rubbish every day in the ocean without fail.
From helium balloons across water bottles.
Yeah, to everything. And yet 5-6 years ago, it'd be 1 in 10 trips. So it's going up quickly, and we are getting much better. And probably one of the biggest things we see these days with fishing is that there are less fish in the ocean, but we're getting better at catching them. So we're still getting the catch records, the catch rates that we want. And fisheries management is based on catch rates. So if everyone's catching fish, that's fine, because it's all fine. It's only when they have a decline that people panic on it and do something. But because of technology now, it is insane. Like, when I started, there was no GPS.
Yeah, wow.
Now, and you think about GPS now, I can give you, you could tell me now some marks for your favourite whiting spot, and I could be down there fishing it the next day without having to line up 3 trees and 5, houses and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the fire trail going up over there.
And then someone, knocked down their house, so you lost your marks. And,
I think we're spoiled growing up now, Diz. We never had to line up the trees and the boat ramp and the this and the that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
We both did.
Yeah. And it's changed, and I don't think people realise. And like Sounders, so we were talking about swordfish before. So one of the eps, we're fishing a bit wider and chasing yellowfin, and we're sitting in 300 fathoms, and we always have gear rigged up for sword fishing. Mark some bait on the bottom, which 5 or 6 years ago we couldn't do in 600 metres of water. Marked the bait, swung round, put the GPS, marked the spot, got the drift right, went back up, put the gear down, did a drift over it, and caught a sword.
It's like cheating these days, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. The guys in freshwater with the live views and stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
It is, and people go, but we're not having an impact. We are having a massive impact, because we're learning constantly new ways to catch fish, and the fish can't keep up with the technology. And even if you go from that, like you go to commercial, like we're down in South Australia when I did the bluefin doco, and chatting to the guys that were feeding the fish farms, and they'd got it's $1 million Furuno unit that scans, I think it's 5 miles around the boat that it picks up, tells them the size of the school, how many tonnage there is in it, and you press autopilot and drive towards it. And he goes, oh, there's been heaps more fish around. I went, no, it's new technology.
Yeah.
And that's not against them or anything. It's just showing that we don't actually realise how good we're getting at it. And, it's definitely changing.
And I think also Fish Forever sort of came out of the fact that we were sitting around talking about how research needs to be current, how there needs to be such focus on across so many of our species that are popular fisheries. When we had somebody say to us, oh, there's plenty of fish, just go and look in the fish markets. And we both sort of went, well, that's not how you judge how many fish there are in the ocean.
Besides, most of it's imported too.
Yeah. And the truth is, who's better to be out on that water, like who's out on the water in their millions literally in Australia every single day. So as far as we're concerned, our wreck anglers are the biggest resource we have out there to help gain as much of that research information as we can. And so we,
and the series is a bit of a tribute to them. That they're going,
definitely.
That, like everyone goes, oh, there was the bloke taking undersized fish or, bloke leave his rubbish. You're always going to have a couple, but fishermen as a whole should get a pat on the back. I mean, we don't in this country. We get locked out and banned and kicked out and stopped. And,
But we know all about that over here. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, poor things.
I mean, that's just the thing. That's what it should be. We should be looked after. We do the right thing. And I mean, and this is a big part of the show too, is that education. If you look back at the way you fish to the way you fish now, like when I first started marlin fishing, trying to let them go, I used 14-0 hooks, J hooks, and I thought I was letting them go.
Yeah.
I just didn't know any better. Now it's a 9-0 circle, it's in the corner of mouth, and we're sat tagging them and knowing they survive 100%. Some of the ones in the old days, not so good, But
no, it's certainly been a big growth area, and stuff like what you guys are doing in the Tuna Champions program, which I know you're involved in, is great for that. So it is really good to see, and I'm sure that theme of sustainability continues in the rest of the series. We've seen the first couple of episodes. What else can we expect?
Well, coming up, we've got this week. It's kind of a cool one because we're doing black marlin, and we do. Showing on the East Coast how, because our current's getting hotter and pushing further south down the East Coast. So we're catching more black marlin closer to Sydney. In fact, we catch them literally at the heads.
Wow, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
With almost a repeat of your bill in the backside when Coops just about got, he ended up with one in the boat.
Yeah, one jumps in the boat. And the funny thing is, everyone goes, oh, it's really green. It's like, no, we're letting it relax a bit so we can, handle it beside the boat, let it go nicely. And then the little bugger decided that we're not tagging him, he's going to tag us, comes flying in the boat.
I just managed to race down the front of the boat to change over lenses as Coops has it come over the back of the boat, and Mahi, the Kelpie, races up. We're still not sure whether she was excited about meeting the fish face to face or whether she was trying to protect Coops, but she was down there in the thick of it as well. Yeah. So, it was missed Coops' groin by about an inch.
Yeah, I was going to say the funny fishing story, and I did see that because I think it made news very far and wide, and it was great footage that you got, but I bet it would have been a pretty hairy moment, I'd imagine, on the boat there, given how close it was. But I suppose it's action stations, there's adrenaline going everywhere, and it probably just blinked and it all happened.
And the main part, we're more worried that the fish hurts itself. So we're trying to get the fish out of the boat.
Don't worry about Coops, he'll be right.
Yeah. I'll just get another kid. I've got a dog and a kid. I'll just, 50%, 1 out of 2 is not bad,
Very good.
So then we do Western Australia. We go over to Sat Tag, black marlin, because, again, we don't know where any of these fish, we know black marlin spawn on the East Coast, obviously in Cairns, but we're pretty sure they're not spawning there and swimming all the way to the Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
So we don't know where they spawn. And we've got an interesting thing. Some people go, oh, you shouldn't find out where they are because otherwise we'll fish them. It's like, no, education is the key. If we understand where they're spawning, we can protect them.
Where to protect them, yeah.
And and there's an interesting sort of, I think it's that old school, don't find out because then things will change. It's like we have to change for the better. If we know about these fish, then we can look after them better. And, it's really interesting that we have to understand what's going on. And if you look at, some of those apps that show where all the boats are worldwide and you type in fishing boats only,
It's
holy
pretty
crap,
scary.
there is some stuff going on the high seas, and that's the legal boats, not the illegal ones.
Yeah, exactly right.
So when people go, we're not having an impact, we are on a massive scale, and that's part of what we wanted to do is go, fishermen play a massive role. Let's tag more fish, with proper tags, and so we can learn and go, because we did the swords, and we expect them all go back to the Coral Sea for spawning. Not one went to the Coral Sea; they all stayed down south. So are they not spawning every year?
Yeah.
Are they? What's going on? What do we need as the currents changed? So that something's going on. It's a similar thing. Like we did the episode after that, we did yellowfin. So they've never tagged yellowfin in New South Wales. So we're the first ones to tag them there, and we want to learn, like yellowfin. As a kid, you go to Montague Island, there's a big yellowfin there. We obliterated that fishery.
Yeah.
Now you have to travel, and everyone goes, "Oh, you still catch yellowfin?" I go, "We travel 40 miles. We never used to go past the 4 miles."
Yeah.
Like now, what happened to those fish? Did we fish those schools out that they don't understand a return, or has the population shrunk that we can't? And again, it comes down to if we don't tag them, we don't understand where they're going and what they're doing. Yes, some people will probably exploit it, but we need to do it so we can get better understanding, so we can get better at looking after them so they are there for the future.
Exactly. And imagine if that research taught us enough for us to be able to re-establish them back into the habitats they were in, closer to the, to our shorelines, etc. But without that knowledge,
save a
we've got no
shitload in
chance.
fuel.
We would.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping they can do something similar with the snapper stocks over here, similar to what you guys are talking about there over in the eastern states. But while we're talking about closer to home, we did want to quickly touch on your boat, which is made right here in Adelaide, your Northbank. Tell us about the boat.
Bloody awesome is the first two words I'd say for it.
Love it.
So the biggest, and this was interesting, so I used to have before that an Evo, which was a good boat. They banged a fair bit, but they were a good fishing platform, but you couldn't travel. And Rob and I were chatting, obviously Andrew's taken over now, but Rob and I were chatting about it, and he said, well, why don't you get into a Northbank? He goes, we'll get a fully enclosed, we'll set it up the way you want. And I'm like, yeah? And he goes, yeah, let's do it. So we end up doing it, and we've changed the way we fish because now we're travelling further in shittier weather, and I would never, ever go without a fully enclosed again. I love it. It's crap weather. There's just white water across the front. Doesn't worry, I'm in the cabin.
And you have to understand, it seems that Al really likes to take us out when there's a chance to, I don't know, get a concussion or whiplash. And
Just adds the excitement of it all.
Exactly. If there's not white water.
Every day is dead flat and sunny.
That's what he tells us before we head out. But no, it's a big, stable boat. We fished with Rob up in Exmouth in his that he towed up to Exmouth.
The 750, the bigger one.
Yeah, the 750 just prior to COVID, or as COVID was getting underway, and was so impressed by it. It was a no-brainer, wasn't it?
Do you know what I reckon? One thing there too is that in Australia, boat builders come and go because they're probably not,
They get found out eventually.
Yeah, they get caught out. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Rob is an awesome bloke, genuine as, and just loves it. And so if there's ever a problem, he fixes it. And now, young Andrew's got it, and he's just as passionate. He's working, to try and make it so the fishery's better. And that, to me, is a huge part of it, that you want to work with people. Like, we only work with people we like. That's basically what it comes down to.
And Rob and his family had brought together a community of Northbank owners that were proud of being part of that
competition and stuff down there.
Really good spirit amongst them all, no matter where we go or anything like that. And that comes from how Rob pretty much presented his product.
Well, it's the only Australian made boat that I know of, or any one that does that sort of community fishing where they're all together. Like, you see someone in another Northbank, you wave to each other and right going, yeah, you got one of these. Yeah. You're in the club, boys.
Exactly.
You give each other the special nod.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So you could say South Oz is the best boat building in the country.
Absolutely. And to have somebody new step in that is as passionate and is,
just as keen.
Yeah, it's very refreshing, that's for sure.
Yeah,
You just need them to sort out your snapper next, because that has been an absolute shit fight, and it has nothing to do with wreck anglers, I can tell you that.
Don't bring up the snapper. We've talked about that for about 4 years on this podcast.
That's right.
Hey, now hold on. We've had a demersal ban over in WA.
Yeah,
so I
I
feel
just
your
got
pain, boys. I feel your pain.
Gosh, yeah, no, you're not wrong. Andrew Harris behind Northbank now, and Rob, we've had them both on the podcast, and we catch up with Harry as much as we can. We've been out on his lovely boat, and we love everything that Northbank has to offer, and it's great to see you guys out there enjoying those beautiful boats and everything that you do. Now, before we let you guys go, you've been very generous with your time, and we appreciate that very much. Tell us about what's in the pipeline for you guys both and what's coming up.
Well, I reckon we wanted to see how the show went, and we actually won the ratings both days, which you never do with a fishing show.
Wow.
So Channel 9 have been awesome, because it's not brand funded, that they've supported the show, which has been insane for us. And to be honest, it's when you do it yourself and go, oh God, I like it, but is anyone else going to like it?
Oh, mate, we've been telling ourselves that for the last 105 episodes.
I look in the mirror quite regularly and go, well, I like it, but no one else does.
We'll have
And
to
then
get
I
you
blindfolded
USA
off.
for episode series 2 then.
Yeah, so
Love to.
that's what we want to do. SA episode. Maybe we'll come down and work on those snapper for you.
I was going to say, if you're looking for a couple of deckies, we could be free.
Yeah, bring on. That'll mean there'll be 4 of us with no idea.
Oh, we'll have to take Andrew along for sure.
Yeah,
Yes, we will. We'll tee it
get
up.
Harry down there. He'll know what to
Harry's
do.
got to be on there.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, guys. Well, we look forward to what is to come in the rest of this series. And as you say, what's to come in the future. It has been a pleasure talking fishing with you. We can see how passionate you both are about sustainability and fishing and sharing it with everyone. So a big thank you for coming on and talking some rubbish with us.
Oh, our absolute pleasure.
So that was for me, or it's the rubbish bit.
Oh,
Dizzy, how good was that to talk with Al McGlashan and his partner Audi? They were very generous with their time and their knowledge, and they're doing some great stuff.
Oh, mate, they are. Their passion just really resonated through the mics with us, mate. They were really, it was just great to hear their story. What they've done in their lives for fishing is quite amazing, and clearly been a huge part of their lives, and for their passion to come through onto our show, we're very lucky. So it was great to have them on the show, Rhodey, and an excellent guest. So let's move on to our next section, mate.
Rhodey and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Righto, Rhodey. So there have been some local kings caught out of some kayaks, mate, which have been some pretty epic catches.
And how good was the footage, Diz? YouTube, Instagram, it's been all filmed, which is great. So Ollie's Fishing and Jordan Saliba, we've had them both on the show. They've nailed some kingfish down at Rapid Bay, and it sounds like the fishing there is hot.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think in some footage that I had seen, you could see all of the other boats or other kayaks or even people off the jetty pitching baits
So
to try and go. So there
all
must have been,
stations.
I think so, and there must have been a good school of them hovering around the jetty. So really cool to see. Great work getting them in. Great work getting them full stop, but pretty epic catch for the kayak, that's for sure.
Certainly is, Diz. Now your dad has been getting into some whiting fishing.
Yeah, he's been doing quite well, mate. A couple of bag outs recently. He's been out. Weather sort of hasn't played the game, but recently a couple of nice little weather windows for him to get out and about to his spots. And
Over on
did
Yorks,
well.
is that right?
Yeah, over on Yorks. Got him out past Port Vincent.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So
He does quite
nice
well down
grounds.
there.
Yeah, nice grounds down there. Of course, it'll be flat stick this weekend, so people will be sort of monitoring their spots nice and closely and not wanting to give away too many secrets.
They certainly will, Diz. Now, it has been a funny old year with the blue swimmer crabs, hasn't it? It was a late start and they're still firing by the sounds.
Yeah, so I'm certainly hearing over that way, particularly that sort of Pine Point, Ardross and Black Point, that kind of area, that they're getting them in reasonable numbers there at the moment, either waiting out during low tide to get them with a rake, or drop netting for them in sort of, the sandy patches around the weed and that sort of thing, over spits and the likes. So very good to see that. But yeah, you're right. It has been a bit of a strange season. They were hard to come by there for a while, so maybe they're just going to come on late.
And hopefully that's the same with the tuna, Diz. We don't have a real tuna update this week, but it does sound like it's sort of, hopefully they're going to keep firing, and maybe it's been a late year for all of our summer species.
Yes, possibly, Rhodey. I mean, we featured quite heavily in the Sunday Mail, didn't we?
Yes, that was good, wasn't it, dear?
You were
Shane
happy with
Mansforth
that?
giving us a good plug. He must have forgotten your name,
Bit
did he?
of a
Or
stitch up, not putting my name in there.
in the caption, they did get in the little top corner of the photo. They got a little bit of Diz in there. Of course, I was holding the fish and, center of attention.
Yeah, I caught it, you hold it. That's how it normally works, isn't it?
I wouldn't have thought, Diz. All right, on the tuna front that we did just mention, friend of the show, Tyson from Want to Fish Charters. We know he splits his time between Warina and Port Mac. And this seems early to me, Diz, but he's moving down to the southeast.
Yes.
And I did see a couple of photos of some big tuna getting weighed at Port Macdonald.
Yes.
And I think if Tyson's moving, there's probably a pretty good bet there's some more fish to come out of that area soon.
Yes. Yeah. Very good to see. It is sad to see Tice go from the local waters, but I'm sure he'll get inundated with requests to take him out into the big barrel lands down there, and no doubt he'll be getting some people onto some fish of a lifetime. So we look forward to following that one, Rhodey, and seeing what he gets up to. Be a bit of a pack up for him to tow that big beast of his down there, but can't wait to see how many barrels he catches this season. He had a bumper season last year.
He did, Diz, and it was probably a little bit slower, not just for him, but for everyone on the Flurio this tuna season, would you say?
Yeah, definitely it was. They were probably harder to come by, but Tice and, other operators in that area seemed to do quite well on the reefies.
Yeah, they did. And I don't think
Tice basically couldn't get away from the crays, I don't think.
Yeah.
He kept catching crayfish on the line.
And I suppose that's not to say that the tuna season's done here. I think we have still been seeing some reports of fish getting caught. I think they certainly normally keep firing for a bit longer than this, Diz. And as we say, it was a slower start to the year. So fingers crossed the season does run a bit later.
It's just been interesting. There doesn't seem to have been a lot of fish caught on Yorks, except for that good run they had off Corny. It's just been it has been an interesting season. So we'll wait and see. Things can change very quickly, Rhodey. So we'll keep an eye on that space as we always do in the fishing report.
All right, Diz, that is it for the fishing report, as you say. Now, we did do a bit of a shout out, probably a few episodes ago now, for some listener questions. Ben Calvert hit us up with one. We got him the answer. And I've got another one. Sam Arnold is this one, Diz, and I'm going to play it for you.
Thank you.
Good day, fellas. I go by the name Grasshopper, and I guess my question is, I live down in Victor Harbour, and I've always got me cray pots out. And this summer, I've hardly been able to catch anything, and I've been told that it's because all the crayfish died in the Murray waters last year, and I'm wondering, am I just useless at catching a crayfish, or did they actually most of them die off last summer? Thanks. Enjoy.
All right, Diz, that was good to get another question from a listener. We love the question, Grasshopper. We also love the nickname. We encourage you all to get in on the questions. And, Diz, we have dug deep to try and find an answer for this one, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, mate. So basically anybody out there from the Victor Harbour area or who fishes for crayfish, just let us know basically what your catch rates have been like, and just basically give us your feedback so that we can get back to Grasshopper and let him know whether he's just a bad fisherman or what the go is.
And the truth to this one is we've asked a few different resources down in the Victor Harbour area. Some have said, yeah, look, it hasn't been my best year. Others have said, I've nailed them. So we haven't got a strong yes or a no to the grasshoppers question. We certainly haven't got anything scientific. So we're going to ask you to get involved. Hit us up with your answer to the grasshopper. Are there more or less crayfish? And does it have anything to do with the Murray water from last year?
It'd be good to get in touch with someone who maybe dives in the area, Rody, because I suppose some of the divers would be able to see that, you might just be like, the ledges are full of them. Or, geez, I used to really clean up at this ledge, but I've got nothing now.
I also dug deep for a crayfish scientist, but I couldn't find one.
Fair enough. All right, Rody, that was an excellent episode, a brilliant chat with Al McGlashan and Audi. So that was brilliant, and we covered off some great stories there, mate. So why don't you just tell the listeners where they can find us, and we'll just be able to wrap up today's episode.
Dizzy, hit us up on Facebook and Instagram. Give us your answer for the grasshopper, and then jump on to Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called. Diz, you're the music man, not me. And give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a listen, and have fun fishing over the Easter long weekend, guys.
Awesome. Love it, guys. Take care. Bye.
Rody and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.